Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me live most weekdays around 4 p.m. Central Time. I got started a little bit late today, 4:15 Central Time. But if you'd like to participate in the discussion, you can join my live streams. Or outside of the live stream, if you'd like to reach out to me, you can check out the Discord I created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also, down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. A lot of times I get asked what kind of meals that I'm eating to lose weight or what food I'm eating. And the best way to get an idea of what I'm eating on my diet is check out that Pinterest board and look at some of those recipes there. Today is day 700. 700 days since I started this diet. I'm down over 215 pounds so far. I have used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose my weight. I am 13 months away from the 3-year deadline. I got about 85 pounds to lose yet. I'm really looking forward to reaching my goal weight within the next 13 months and then living the rest of my life at a normal, healthy adult weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I'd love to hear about those as well. Let me know how you guys are doing on your diets. If you're succeeding with weight loss, let us know what you're doing that's succeeding. If you're struggling to get going, what's causing, what's causing you to struggle or keep yourself from actually getting started. And with any diet, I think that one of the biggest keys to success are what are some of the things that you are going to do now that is going to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative. Let's go ahead and switch over to the main here. A few people checking in. Our Tiny Acres hugs back to you. Carrie, Rick, hello. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It was a long weekend here. I did not stream on Friday. I ended up just having a really busy Friday. And I could have streamed later, but everything was just crazy because I've talked about it a little bit on stream, but we've been having a lot of things going on at work. And one of the big things that happened on Friday was that we moved out of the building that we had been in since 2008 or 2009. We had been in the building for 13 or 14 years. And so we had a lot of work to get everything out. We had stuff in corners and, anywhere we could store something, we had it. And so we've been working pretty hard over the past couple months to get it moved, but our deadline was the 30th there last month. So I was really busy on Friday and just didn't really have it, just didn't have the ability to get on and stream here. Barb says that it was a gorgeous weekend up there in Michigan. Yeah, it was really nice here. The temperature really is starting to feel like fall. We probably get similar temperatures as Michigan, or at least overall temperatures from where you're at. Unless you're like Upper Peninsula or Northern Michigan. But yeah, it was really nice here. This weekend was also different because Carrie was out of town. So I was busy with moving, and then Carrie went out of town with the kids. So it was kind of a single guy for the weekend. And so I ended up using all my extra time to work. I just went to work on Saturday. We had a lot of unpacking. Like we had put stuff into trucks on Friday, but we didn't unload them. So on Saturday we had to unload some things, and then Sunday was kind of a little bit of a paperwork catch-up day for me, or I got some stuff done on Saturday. Our Tiny Acre says that it's starting to feel like fall in Oregon too. Yeah, today it's just been real cool in the building here. We've had all the doors open, and it was almost chilly in the building today. But it's been nice to enjoy the weather. It's not oppressively hot, and it's not, unbearably cold. So it has been, this is a great time of year. I really like this fall. Really, the transition into fall is probably one of the best transitions. But obviously going into spring is also very nice because you're getting out of the winter. So yeah, it's been nice here too. Let's see. We will go over food. So bearing in mind that I was in charge of my own food all weekend, we're going to look at what I had to eat. Let me switch this over. So also, Christy says it's not feeling like fall yet in Houston. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys even get a fall season in Houston? How does that even work? I'm sure where I'm at in Iowa here, I think Michigan's probably very similar. Oregon might be similar too, but there are 4 definite seasons here. It's not just hot and more hot. We get the whole range from 105 in the summer to negative 12 in the winter. The day I got married was in January, and it was negative 18 degrees the day I got married. So hell literally froze over the day I got married. So that's what happened. But let's go ahead and switch over to this. Not really. Your leaves fall much later. Yeah, the colors they're really changing now. They're harvesting the corn now too up in here in Iowa, which means there is wild animals all over the place. On just within a mile of my house, there's at least 2, if not 3 small animal roadkills. And then almost every day, especially when I'm driving towards dusk, there's always deer running around. So, but yeah, the leaves changing color, it's really getting to be that pretty time of year up here, for us. Let's go ahead and go over the food that I had, or at least what I took photos of, because I did not take photos of everything, but this lost its link. So let's start that again. So I got this new setup. I was thinking that it should be super quick because the router's right next to me now. But it's not near as quick as I thought it would be. So we'll see how much of a delay there is here. So this was Thursday after the stream. I ended up having some oranges. I don't even know what we had for dinner Thursday. Did I show that soup? Let me see. Maybe I just didn't take a photo. No, we had that soup on Wednesday. I feel like Thursday was like a leftovers day for dinner. I'm not sure because I did not take any other photos from, wait for this to catch up. There we go. I don't have any other photos from Thursday. So I don't know what I had for dinner Thursday. If I had leftovers, I feel like maybe I had leftover Spanish rice. But I should do a better job of writing it down when I don't take the photos. Our Tiny Acres says up in Portland, it's supposed to get up to almost 80 degrees, much better than the high 90s and 100s you had in the summer. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 79 is a great temperature. So Thursday, it's the only photo I took on Thursday of food, and I can't really remember what I ate. I'm sure I ate plenty of food. And then on Friday, we were, Carrie went out of town So I was kind of in charge of my own food. I don't remember if I had oatmeal. I'm sure I had oatmeal Friday. Because Carrie was still here. But I ended up Friday evening. This is just going to be some photos of what I made for dinner. I actually love making this meal. It takes some time to do, and it's really kind of maybe one of the few meals I can make without too much complication. If this thing ever updates, this is so dumb. Like, this was supposed to be quicker, and it is definitely not quicker. I couldn't be any closer to the Wi-Fi router. Don't tell me to get closer to the Wi-Fi router. Here, I'll put it right there. It's like touching it almost. I wish I could just plug my iPhone in direct to the internet. There we go. Finally, it switched over, which means it's going to take forever for the next photos to switch over. So, real simple meal for me to make for myself is just some root vegetables and then some regular vegetables cut up. So I actually had made 2 trays of vegetables. I don't know if I got all great photos of them, but on there you can see some zucchini, red peppers, onions, and then this plate has a few mushrooms here. Yeah. And then I just used a no salt seasoning that it's the same seasoning that we use in our oatmeal, that I just put that on top of it there. I took those and cut them up like that, put the oven on 425 and cooked them in the oven for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes is what I did with that. There's a photo of our dog there, just waiting by our front door, waiting for Carrie and the kids to come home. And then this is the root vegetables that I cooked. This is after I cooked them, but there is potatoes, carrots, and then I took a sweet potato and threw it on the top. The potatoes there are golden potatoes. Really like those potatoes. And I'll kind of go into that with today's photo too, because there was an interesting thing with that. So I'm going to keep flipping through here and try to pay attention to what my screen does, because it's way behind me talking here. But I think I just took a bunch of photos of that stuff there. I really enjoy just taking that. I put these in the Instapot, threw a little bit of water on the bottom, pressure cooked them for 22 minutes. And then this is the cooked vegetables in, now it's going super fast. And then that's kind of everything together there, mixed up. I'll focus on this one. I'll go back to this one here. It'll take a second. And then those are some bananas I had for a snack. They were getting close to being a little too ripe, so I ate those as a snack. If this will ever go back to here we go. So this is the photo. This is everything mixed up. So you got corn, sweet potatoes, red peppers, onions, mushrooms, zucchini. And there's so much food in here too. Like when I made this recipe, I split this over 2 days. So I ate half of those potatoes and carrots and sweet potatoes that I cooked, and I ate half of the vegetables I cooked in the serving that's on the screen now. But it's an incredible amount of vegetables. It was half. So everything that I cooked was all those potatoes, all of the vegetables here. That was 2 onions, 2 peppers, and a ton of mushrooms and 1 zucchini. But I split that over the course of 2 days. Had that for dinner on Friday, and then I also brought it to work with me on Saturday for lunch. And I didn't end up taking a photo of it Saturday for lunch, I'm seeing, because these bananas are what I ate when I got home on Friday evening. So being that I was solo at home and I had cooked all those vegetables, and really that Instapot, it was a lot of food of potatoes and carrots and sweet potato. So I ate a lot over Friday and then Saturday. Saturday evening, I went to go make a recipe and we didn't have the right beans, and I just kind of said, screw it. I didn't end up eating Saturday night, other than these bananas, and I had a little bit of shredded wheat because we had some left. And so Saturday night, I ate very little Saturday night. And then, Sunday, I might have maybe I finished this shredded wheat Sunday morning or had some both times. I did have a decent amount of shredded wheat this weekend, because I didn't have other food and it was just easy for me to make, but I didn't end up taking any photos of it. So then Sunday, because, I'm so original, Sunday I went through, and let me see if this pops up. I'm going to kind of take some time. And I went through the fridge and I decided to just do a repeat of, what I made Friday. So I got the Instapot out, threw a bunch of potatoes in the Instapot, threw some carrots in there, threw a sweet potato in there. And then, this is a portobello mushroom. This is a different mushroom than the other mushrooms I had, because I had used all the other, mushrooms on Friday to make the same meal. And then, I made, so this time everything I cooked was in here. And so it is multiple potatoes, multiple carrots, half of a sweet potato. So half of the root vegetables I cooked, I put in here. All of the other vegetables that I cut up are in here. So there's a whole portobello mushroom head. There is a whole red onion, and there is a whole pepper in there, as well as 3 or 4 potatoes, 2 or 3 carrots, and half a sweet potato. So, very good. Pretty much that's all I ate all weekend. I know how to make it. I can just throw it in the Instapot, cut the vegetables up, throw them in the oven. I actually cut the vegetables up really small this time so that they would cook quicker in the oven. And cooked it about the same time. I might have cooked it a little bit less this time because, when you cut the vegetables up, when I cut them up the first time, I cut them kind of at different sizes. Like the onions were big chunks of onion together, but then the peppers were tiny and the mushrooms got real shriveled up. So I tried to make them more similar in size or chop them up so they would cook quicker and mix better when I put them in the food here. Christy says that looks great. Love how simple it is. Yes, very simple. It does take some time to chop the vegetables, but really just throw it on the tray, throw some seasoning, throw it in the oven, and walk away. Laquita says, did I hear easy food to make? Yes, easy food to make. I made root vegetables and then shredded wheat. Really. Mushrooms might be man's best friend. You know, I really like them. And the portobello, so I had used all the mushrooms we had on Friday. So Carrie made our oatmeal this morning, and she used the other portobello mushroom cap. And it was good. I think that it might be better than the other mushrooms, but when you're throwing them in the oatmeal, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. So then yesterday, this is going to be my, this is a late night snack. So, the food I ate fairly late, but not super late. I didn't eat really anything all day. I think maybe I didn't even have breakfast. I think that this was the only thing I had eaten, and it was in the afternoon. So after Carrie and the kids got home, we were winding down. Me and Carrie decided to sit down, watch a little television, and just relax. And so I decided to grab some things from the counter. So this was my late night snack. I did split the bananas with Carrie. She had some of the bananas. But that's just 4 bananas, an apple, and then in the corner there is the Crazy Richard's peanut butter. I have not eaten a lot of the Crazy Richards peanut butter, but it's in our cupboard still. And I thought, you know what, that'd be a good snack last night. I haven't eaten a ton, so it's not like I'm really worried about being in a calorie surplus for the day. And putting it on the fruits, I didn't feel that guilty. Because generally, a year ago, if I was showing you a late night snack, it would have been like 3 or 4 slices of Ezekiel bread with nut butter on it. And I feel like this, calorie wise, probably is as many calories or maybe more, I don't know, with the fruit than the Ezekiel bread. But it's very satisfying. And it was just, like I said, it was a late night snack that we had last night. And then I don't know what happened with the oatmeal this morning, but I kind of know what happened. So this is my bowl of oatmeal. Carrie generally makes the same amount of oatmeal every morning. But I think what happened is that we don't have a lot of bowls in the house because I keep bringing them to work and then not bringing them home. And she does the same too. It's not just my fault. But anyways, I think all the bowls we had at home were smaller bowls. So Carrie took her bowl of oatmeal out, and it wasn't as much oatmeal as she normally eats, I feel like, unless she made a ton of oatmeal this morning. But I really felt like I had like a double portion of oatmeal today. And I'm glad I did because I didn't eat a lot over the weekend. I really didn't. And I get worried a little bit that my undereating is going to lead to overeating because you can undereat and you can survive for a little while, but eventually your body's going to try to make up for it. And if you're not careful about the foods that you do decide to eat, you can overeat some junk food. So Aquita says, do you ever make cheese sauce out of oats? You saw the recipe recently and it's like, wow. Okay. I have not heard of making a cheese sauce out of oats. Might be something to look in. Does it use like a Nooch or the Nutritional yeast to give it that cheese flavor? I'm curious. But no, the only thing that we've had that has that kind of flavor is actually the meal I didn't make this weekend, which is the white bean and polenta, which is kind of like one of the other more complicated meals that we have that I know how to make. And we use a nutritional yeast in that or a nooch in that. But I haven't really messed with it. And with my reset of the diet here, I've had so much less sauces. So looking at today's lunch, this is, or I guess and this is very similar to what I had all weekend. I mean, it's starch, potato based with some vegetables mixed into it. There's no sauces, I put some of that seasoning from, the no salt seasoning on the vegetables, but I haven't been worried about having sauces. I think that it's there's lots of things that are part of every recipe or every kind of like all of the recipes need a sauce. They need a cheese sauce. They need a binder. They need a cream to them. And I'm just not finding that I need those things. And in fact, these potatoes here that are on the screen, I think it was a new bag of potatoes that Carrie got into or a different bag than what I cooked the potatoes that I had all weekend. These potatoes blew away the potatoes that I had Friday and Saturday. And they're just potatoes. They're the same company probably. They're just golden potatoes. And that is continuing to be something that I never thought real hard about. You'll grab 2 oranges and you can tell one orange tastes better than the other. I think that's where I see the biggest variety in my diet is with oranges, but it's in everything. the potato, a sack of potatoes can taste one way, and then the sack next to it can taste completely different. And they're almost identical, except for, maybe the farm it came from was different, or the way this, whatever, when they harvest it was a better time. Who knows? There's all kinds of variables that affect the quality of the vegetables that we get. And I feel like for so long, I just assumed they all tasted the same. If you'd have told me that 2 potatoes tasted different, I'd have been like, no, all potatoes taste the same. They're all exactly identical. And so that's been an interesting thing here. Laquita says, I think there was nooch, but they used oats, red peppers, chili peppers, a little salt, and kept whisking it till it thickened in 5 minutes. Might be a good one for you and the kids to dip veggies into. Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty simple. And oats, red peppers, chili peppers. Yeah, that sounds good. And yeah, it's something that you mentioned the kids, and that's having options like that's great for them too, because they miss out on some things, I suppose, because of our diet. Our Tiny Acre says that they've had a good cheese sauce made from potatoes too. That sounds delicious. If it like the potatoes I had today were so creamy, like I threw some broccoli in and I mixed them up and went to Carrie. I was like, this is just like mashed potatoes without having to add anything into it to make them mashed potatoes. They just fell apart. They just cooked perfect. Everything was just came together really well with the potatoes here. And Carrie said earlier that she's actually hoping to make an actual meal tonight. I feel like my food was actual meals. I think are you downgrading my cooking ability by saying that? No, I don't think she's had a real actual meal because she was the one traveling. She actually had a harder time with food than me. At least I had a home base that had our staple ingredients that I could make something out of. So I'm sure Carrie's very excited about actually having a home cooked meal that we can enjoy. Laquita says, I'm always trying to job things my kids. I'm imagine meant to say find. Trying to find things your kids will like because you and Corey will eat anything. Yeah, and trying to think of things. There you go. I see. Okay. Yeah, kids are so tough. I mean, we got 4 kids. Oldest is 11, and they, it's tough because, like you said, you'll eat anything. That you're eating it for energy. You're eating it for to get you by. You're not eating it for enjoyment. I think that our kids have always eaten for enjoyment. It's always been kind of, that's foods. You use treats, you use candy as incentives to do things, or we're going to reward you for doing good at school by going out to dinner or making your favorite dish. And so for our kids, food is much more of a celebration, and it's about getting, it's hitting that highest dopamine rush you can get every time. And as an adult, we don't think of it that way. It's difficult because we have noticed that our kids, they will go without eating, they'll skip a meal, and because they don't like what's being cooked, because they know that the next meal will be something, it'll be plenty of calories. It's not going to be, my kids aren't dying, starving by any means. It's partly us too, because we have it available, but as a parent, I feel like it's just such a slippery slope, cause we're already eating kind of an odd diet compared to other people. And so I don't want our kids to become malnourished because of our diet, because they don't want to eat broccoli and carrots and stuff like that. So we do allow the processed baked meats and processed foods into their diet so that they get plenty of calories. This could probably go down anyways. I don't need it up anymore. I just I'll figure out. Yeah, I guess I didn't need to have that up the whole time. Laquita says, you created a website full of games that you're constantly adding to get our kids on the same mindset that food is fuel. Yes. Yeah, I don't know that it's something that you can really, like I said, they just have access to so much rich food. I was watching a video this weekend. It was a TED Talk that they were talking about the marketing that is done to the kids, and it's just crazy. Anyways, so I got this weekend, I went over the food. I'm still taking suggestions on a book or something to read. I haven't really gotten into anything new as far as reading. I need another doctor to come out with a new plant-based book. Give me something new to read. There was a book that was recommended in that TEDx video I was just talking about, that I was thinking about reading, and I feel like somebody else has mentioned it. It is something about eating animals. What was it? It was I can't remember what it was. I'm gonna have to watch the video. But yeah, it was about the animal agriculture industry, and I'm definitely interested in checking it out. One of the interesting things that video talked about, and they also talk about it a little bit in the Pleasure Trap book, but it talks about that, like, we're not meant to be obese. Obesity is really a human condition, and there's other animals that may get overweight, but they aren't chronically overweight like humans are. And if they get to that point where they become obese, then they lose a lot of what keeps them alive. Because if you're a deer or an antelope and you become fat, then you become slower than the predators, and then you die. So it's not beneficial to be fat in the wild in that way. But even like other animals, like if you had an overweight falcon or bird, it wouldn't fly. And you don't see birds walking around because they're overweight, like they know they can't get heavy, because once they get too heavy, they lose the ability to fly. And he talked about some other things too, about like, there's so many diseases that are inherently human too, like we don't hear about birds falling from the sky and because they had a heart attack, or we don't hear about animals having strokes, like it's, and obviously there's some of that we don't study it, but you don't hear of any cases, like if 5% of the human population suffers from heart disease. I don't even know if that's a real number, but 5% of the deer population doesn't have heart disease. 5% of the lion population doesn't have heart disease. This obesity thing is a human condition that is not natural, and it's because we're just surrounded by all of this food, this processed food that's just shoved full of salt, sugar, and fat. And it's not a sustainable way to live. And he talks about in the book that, or not the book, he talked about in the video I watched that you have, you have to eat the food as close to its natural state as possible. You got to get rid of the processing and eat whole food, plant-based. Laquita says that you usually watch the Real Truth About Health channel to find new doctors and literature here on YouTube. Yeah, I've checked out a lot of their videos, and I do enjoy their channel as well. Yeah, that was it was an interesting video. I'm going to try to share it on the Discord later. If you're Pretty Girl's mom says, hi, what time did you all start? I started at 4:15 today. I've been streaming for about 40 minutes now. If you're on the East Coast, it was 5:15. Yeah, I was about 15 minutes behind schedule getting started. So, but thanks for checking out the video or checking out the live stream here. I was going to talk a little bit about making it to day 700. It's not making it to day 700 is something that I don't know that I expected to do. I hoped to do it, but it puts me, so I'm so close to that 2/3 of the way too. I got one more month and I'll be 2 years of the 3 years done. But what I can say about being on this for 700 days or dealing with this or focusing on my weight or making it a conscious part of my life for 700 days is easily 300 it's probably twice. It's probably more than twice the time that I had ever cared about my weight like this. And I'm so happy that I made the choice to get this channel going in November and start the channel and start this challenge. But I do have to say, I don't think that I make it to day 700 if I do much different than what I've done. I could obviously have lost more weight than I have. I mean, I've lost 210 pounds in 2 years. So that's not a bad amount of weight, or 215 pounds in 2 years. So that's great. To say I've lost 107 pounds for each of the last 2 years is incredible. That I'm down that much weight, but I had lost much of it in the first year. If I would have been as focused the second year as I was the first year, I feel like there's a good chance I would have been at my goal by now. But I also don't know that I would have learned everything that I learned over this past year. I feel like in my failures, there was lots of education. While I was still learning things when I was doing things right, it wasn't maybe answering a few of those questions that I needed to have answered. And some of those questions were, am I really going to eat this way the rest of my life? And the answer is yes. I have to. If I want to be healthy, I have to eat this way the rest of my life. And the reason why that became apparent was just because I found that I lost my train of thought there. So the 700 days, I wouldn't have been able to stick with it if I would have eaten a different way or done it differently, or if I would have done, okay, yeah, I was talking about what I missed, what I wouldn't have learned this past year if I was perfect. I wouldn't have learned that I need to eat this way the rest of my life. I wouldn't have learned that it's doable. I definitely had in the back of my mind, and I've talked about this a little bit before, like almost all diets are unsustainable. Like they're doable, but they're not sustainable. You can do it to lose weight, but eating that weight isn't sustained. Eating that weight isn't something that you can do for the rest of your life. So I feel like I kind of always assumed that when I get to my goal weight, my diet will change. And this past year, by letting some of those foods in, that I'm like, hey, when I get to my goal weight, these are foods I'm going to eat. And I also feel like at the time too, because I had never eaten a lot of these vegan foods, that I was worried that when I got to my goal weight, that I wasn't going to like those foods. And that's not the case at all. Those foods have plenty of salt, oil, and sugar that they'll be liked by many people. But again, I had this mentality that I was going to be eating this way to lose weight. And then when I lost weight, I'd be letting these other things in, or I'd have these, my diet would change. And I definitely have learned that there's really no food out there that's that worth it. Like a little bit of something that can kill you isn't necessarily good, or something that, a little bit of something unhealthy is not healthy. But I definitely learned that, there's damage that I've done to my body because of being overweight that just 2 years of healthy eating isn't going to just fix. If I want to heal the damage that I've done to my body over the 38 years or 38 and a half years before I started this, then I'm going to probably have to go 38 years to undo that damage. It's going to take time to undo that damage. The biggest wake up call for me was this past month with my leg and the swelling. I really felt like the swelling in my right leg was the last unhealthy thing. It was, I felt like it was, that happened because I had gotten to 500 pounds. Because I got to 500 pounds, I had this swelling in my leg and I was getting these sores on my leg. And that as long as I don't get back to 500 pounds, those won't come back. And that's not the case. 1 month of really not great eating, it wasn't like totally out of control, but it was a lot more salt, oil, and sugar than I should have been. And my legs swelled up just like it was when I was 500 pounds. Not just, but it was noticeable. Like it was swollen. It was, and like I said, in my head, I kind of had this mentality that, well, as long as I'm not 500 pounds, that swelling will go away and it won't come back until I get to 500 pounds. And I was sitting there at 310 pounds with the swelling in my leg. And that was a bit of a wake up call too, that really helped kind of spark me getting back into it. I always knew from the time that I stopped that there was going to be a deadline that I had to be like, okay, I can't keep messing around. I got to get back to being perfect on the diet again. And Anthony saying, hey, Anthony, I hope you had a great weekend. Barb says working through the ups and downs during weight loss is essentially for managing maintenance. Yes. Yeah. I think that and like I said, it's just such a crazy thing how and I said it for years, and well before I started this channel, I had said many times to Carrie that I wish I could eat like somebody who was 200 pounds. I wish I could eat that volume. I wish I could eat the way they eat. And because I never did, like even when I was, I was losing a ton of weight, but I was eating like a 90 pounder. I wasn't eating like a 200-pound person. And I think part of it was lack of patience. I didn't want to wait that long to lose the weight. I didn't want to have to do what I'm doing now. Like that's why I started this channel. That's why I challenged myself to do this for 3 years, because I knew it couldn't be quick. And I knew that I needed to make the changes, and I, even if I would have lost all the weight in year one, I still needed to maintain it for 2 years. And, that was, that wouldn't have happened with any other diet that I've eaten. And I don't know that it happens with like I said, I don't know that I make it to day 700. I've followed some people that have done similar to what I'm doing, as far as like, hey, this is day one. This is, I'm going to lose weight, and that those people inspired me to do this. But I don't know that any of there's nobody that inspired me to lose weight by recording it and being up on YouTube like this that is still doing it. Like when I was, when I started this in November of 2020, there was multiple fasting guys specifically, because I was really into the fasting idea, that they were doing their fasting regimens. This is what, I'm going to be doing. This is, and a couple of them had great weight loss success, but a year in, they were struggling so hard, and there was one guy I was following that wasn't fasting. He was eating a different diet. He was supplementing with some shakes or something, that, he got up to like day 600, but he was kind of doing what I did at day 600, when I'm watching him, he's 100 days of into struggling with losing any more weight. And then he just quits kind of posting. And so, for me, it's about the 3 years, I knew going in that it would be really hard to be perfect for 3 years. So it was about sticking to it for 3 years. And that's what I think, if I get that across to anybody more than anything, is it's that sticking to it. It's that, that even when you screwed up, you're back at it. Even if it's been 4 days, you're back into it. Like, and there was never a full day, like in the past 11 months, where I was like, everything I ate was just ridiculous. It was very much like meals that were things, or we were traveling and then it was bad. But, Anthony says it's mostly genetics. Don't blame yourself. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Yeah. I think that there's a lot. Like I said, the other thing I learned this past year is I can maintain a weight. I talked about that a little bit this past few weeks too, is that I have been, in August we've been like August 2nd or August 3rd of 2021. So a year and 3 months ago, I was 310 pounds. And a year later, I'm 303 pounds. And that, I don't think, if I went through my, like if I had a record of what I weighed every day for the past 20 years of my life, I don't know that you could ever take one year period. Like you could say January 1st of 2018 to January 1st of 2019, that I wasn't either drastically different or gaining steadily as the year went on, because I never maintained a weight. Like as an adult, it's either been I lose at record speeds, 5, 10, 20 pounds, 5 pounds a week, 10 pounds a month, like whatever, just crazy fast weight loss, or just continual weight gain. So for the last year to be able to say that I've lost 7 pounds and, well, actually probably more than that in the past year, because I gained weight. 310 was my lowest at that point. I had just come off a real busy week and stuff. So I gained weight very quickly. But yeah, I think that at the end of 2021, I was 335 pounds. So I was about 30 pounds heavier than I am now, 10 months ago. So I've lost about 3 pounds a month. So it's not bad. It was not what I was hoping going into 2021. If you go back and watch those videos, I had big plans. So, Anthony says food awareness is good. There are people who can eat chili dogs and fries with a milkshake and not gain a pound. So we got to find yum yums that are more compatible with our bodies. Yeah. There are some people that can eat that way. I think that there are fewer people eating that way than you expect. That they don't gain a pound, but yeah, you gotta find what works for your body. I find that, eating this plant-based diet has been great. I give myself, great healthy food that, I would not have thought was yum food 2 years ago, but now I do think it is, very delicious food, and the picture of the potatoes and broccoli I had up there, dumb, simple meal, tastes amazing. Carrie got home from being out of town all weekend and that's all she wanted was potatoes and broccoli. She's like, I'm craving potatoes and broccoli. I haven't had it for 3 days. And so, yeah, you can change what your taste preferences are a little bit, I would say. But yeah, it's tough with genetics. But I really have found eating this way has been great. Right. Yeah, true. Yeah. People, the weight on the scale is not necessarily a determining factor of health. There's people that can be underweight and still have many health problems. And in some ways, I think that being severely underweight is probably as bad as being severely overweight. So, Rick says he just loves yellow potatoes. Those are his treats. You made a comment earlier I missed about russet potatoes, I feel like, too. What'd you say? You love yellow potatoes, russets, not so much. Yeah. Yeah, I love these golden yellow potatoes. They're so good. And it's really funny that there's so much variety in this food that I really didn't even know. Like I thought russet potatoes, I think russet's like kind of the standard, or is a Idaho potato a russet potato? I'm not sure. But I feel like the russet, like I just assumed all potatoes were like that. And now that we've eaten this way, I've heard about Japanese sweet potatoes and these golden potatoes and all kinds of other crazy stuff that I didn't even know existed before eating this way. Our Tiny Acres says that you feel much better since you went vegan and even better since you went whole food, plant-based, mostly no oil, salt, and sugar. Yeah, I talked about it a lot this past month or especially this last week of this past month. I feel incredible. Like physically, I feel as thin as I've ever felt. Mentally, I feel clearer. That processed food, it just brings down the overall being like it, and they talk about this with other addictions, but like baseline is across the middle here, but then when you have these foods that increase your moods, it makes you feel better, but then they come back lower, and then your baseline becomes lower than what it was normally, I guess. Barb says that Idaho is generally a russet potato. And this processed foods is the same way, and sort of like cigarettes or alcohol, they talk about that, like if you didn't drink alcohol or you didn't smoke cigarettes, you'd be fine all day. But since you do, you have these mood swings, and food does that too. It creates these mood swings in us. And Tennis and Yoga Girl says every day doesn't have to be perfect, and every day has not been perfect for me. But, you said I'll reach my goal no matter how long it takes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Tennis and Yoga Girl. Yeah, it's been, and the mentality, like I said, my mental state's better. Like overall, I feel like I'm every day I'm in a better position than I was before even eating with all that great, all that food that I thought was great tasting and wonderful. But Rick says, give me an air fryer and yellow potatoes and you're good. Yeah, yes. I've been amazed. I mean, I've had so much potato in the past 3 days. Like I probably had easily a 5-pound bag of potato in the last 3 days. So, that's something else too, that Yoga Girl, you made a comment about that I'll reach my goal no matter how long it takes. It's hard for me to compare this diet to previous diets because I didn't record them the same way, and time passes. I've never felt so sure that I was going to reach my goal. I mean, I've never felt so sure that if I continue to eat this way, I will reach my goals. And before, I probably could have reached my goals if I continued to eat and do the things the way that I was eating and doing them. But again, like I said, they weren't sustainable. And so there was this constant battle of the sustainability, like this constant fighting, and I don't have that with this diet. Like with this diet, I ate the other day, I was eating something. And it was broccoli and potatoes. Yeah, I had broccoli and potatoes at lunch last week. And I was eating it, and I had cooked so much broccoli and potato that it took me a long time to eat. And I almost kind of forced myself to finish the food because I didn't want to waste it. And I didn't feel guilty about eating it. And so, but like it was so much food that I almost got nauseous. And if I ever got nauseous on any other diet before, it was because I wasn't eating enough. It was because it was I was malnourished, as opposed to now I'm absolutely kidding. Plenty of volume of food in. And that has been huge for me. Art Honeyacre says that you love the yellow potatoes too. You air fry yellow potatoes and Brussels sprouts together. We've tried the Brussels sprouts a little bit. But yeah, that might be something good to throw in that air fryer too. Yeah, get them. I don't even know how we cooked our Brussels sprouts when we had them, but we've been it's been good. So I just hit 1 hour. I think I'm going to get out of here for today. I do really appreciate all of the support that you guys have been giving me. Everybody that comes on to these live streams, that helps people after the fact that are making comments. I really appreciate that. And then Anthony says to steam the Brussels. Yeah, that makes sense. yeah, your guys' support has been a huge part of this. The accountability of it has been a huge part of it too. You know, like, and you know, it's weird because a lot of the stuff I went over a lot, like when I first started the channel. But you know, accountability was a big part of it. And Our Tiny Acre says they like dipping their Brussels sprouts, I think, into mustard and sugar-free ketchup. That's, I don't think I've ever heard of putting them in mustard and ketchup. That's that'd be good. Thank you for the support. The accountability is huge. It's been again, you know, I don't know how you can create an accountability platform in your own life, but if you can, that I highly encourage you find some way to hold yourself accountable in some way. I think it makes a difference. Yeah, thank you guys for your support. I will be on tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm not going to, you know, I can't commit that I'm going to go on every day because if I get busy, I just can't do it. But I definitely will be on Wednesday to weigh in. And then, but I'm planning on being on every day this week. Make sure you get subscribed to the channel, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos, and hit the thumbs up on this video. Make sure you like this video here. Like I said, I'll be live tomorrow. And if you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up. There's nothing that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. And nobody gets to their goals and looks back and says they wish they would have waited. Everybody who reaches their goals looks back and says, you know, I wish I would have started sooner. I wish I would have known how good I feel now because I would have done this so much sooner if I would have known. So get started right now, guys. And I will see you tomorrow.